Hello, I'm Umbrenero and welcome back to Umbrenero's Life. Today's video is Working on an Art Collection Part 3. So back in Part 2, I was showing some of the Chaos in the Light art collection. Chaos in the Light art collection. Sorry about that. And this is Chaos in the Dark. And this is going to be along the similar lines, how this collection is like the sibling to the Chaos in the Light. And this one is actually going to be parts 3, 5, and 7 of the series. And the main base color for this part is black, because in the dark, obviously. So we're using the same colors we used in part 2 in the Chaos in the Light to get how the same colors react with the darkness. And I have to say, the way these turned out was way different than I thought they would. Because once they dried, they honestly, you can feel that it was dark. But there is little peaks of light that still shine through. And in part 7 of the series, where I'm actually going to be doing the edges for these, you'll get to see kind of what I'm talking about with that. But like I did in the earlier part 2 with the Chaos in the Light, I wanted to try to make sure the entire top part of the canvas is covered to the best of its ability. Sometimes I had to help it. It happens. And I had to do what I had to do. And again, I had a different canvas underneath to collect all of the dark, because I didn't want this paint to go to waste. But I figured out a way that was working for me, and I was going to continue with it. So, first one was that lemon yellow color again, and just seeing how it interacted differently between the white background and the black background, it gave me hope for how the rest of the series was kind of going to act. So, I was very intrigued. But next up was that medium yellow, and some of these I probably could have had more color, but that was something I didn't fully think about right away when I was mixing everything to do this. For parts 4 and 5, I fully know I need to mix more color, so that is something that will definitely happen. But just seeing how these designs ended up going, it's just so interesting. Like, I'm actually happy that I didn't use a black canvas for this, because I don't think I would have gotten the feeling that I would have. But that was the medium yellow. On to regular old yellow here. And using this plastic container I found, was literally the perfect size. I know I said that in part 2, but It was just enough to stick out over the top, so there's like a ½ inch between. It worked great. So for regular old yellow here, I actually did a different design with how I did the primary color. So in this case, the black. And looking back at it, I can tell I did not put enough color down right away, as in like the background color, because of how slow this was moving. I can tell that. We got it to go the one way. Now was the weight shake and jiggle to get it to go to the right side of the canvas. But I have not fully decided what direction these canvases are going to go yet. That is something that is yet to come. Here on this one, I was really trying to get it to start trying to slide into the one. So it's like, alright, let's keep going. Fill up the little spots that I can. And then I had this large spot, so it's like, yep, we're gonna have to just tap it. In between each of the canvases, I was wiping off my hands. I have reusable little towels that I use for painting that I was wiping my hands off in between, so colors were not getting transferred between the paintings. I can easily say that. But that was the yellow one. Now for, I believe it was orange. And for some reason, at this point, I felt like I had way more excess paint than I did with the chaos and the light through this point, because it just seemed like there was so much more. And I'm like, alright, well, this is going to end up covering this entire canvas eventually, so I'm going to swirl it. I'm using a plastic container. I don't mind if it gets covered in paint as it is. But this way, there's not excess paint like building up on the corners underneath, right where I'm scraping the paint. That was the whole point for like moving it around. But we're on to the orange, which it really went well with this black base. Like, it reminded me of like tiger stripes with how it ended up looking. But I was trying to be very, very careful and going, alright, let's ignore the corners, just get to the corner and call it good, and then go from there. Like right there, I actually seen something floating. I think it was a hair or something, or lint. I don't remember what, but I seen something. It's like, nope, you're getting yoinked out of here. So yoinked out the piece of debris that didn't belong and kept on going. So I was trying hard to get those spots on the right side to fill. They were being difficult, so when I would put my hand underneath, I'd get paint on it, so I had the paint from this canvas to fill in the gaps that happened. So that's where I didn't have problems going through and filling in those little small gaps. Then it was scraping off the rest of the excess paint. And that was it for the orange one. And you can see really how it looked once it hit the big canvas. Like, I've worked with glow-in-the-dark paint before. That would have made some very interesting looks, that's for sure. But we're up to the black, and this time I decided, yep, we're gonna make sure I'm getting whatever I can towards the corners, and then my backup black paint came in handy again, and I did not have enough black. I will say that right now. So this pinky corally one that I did here, the pink fought the hardest out of all of these colors when it came to the pour. And it was around here where I realized, hey, I think there is a glob of paint in my acrylic pour fluid that I was using. I did not notice it right away. It was right here is when I really did notice it, and it's like, okay. But on the bright side, it did dry flat, so not very noticeable. I tapped in those little spots right where it was not enough paint to cover it up where I could as well as I could without really changing any of how this pour was going. Like, that little glob, it helped. It honestly helped with pushing the paint because it's that weight just moving it. But because I did not have enough paint on this one, this, out of all the chaos in the dark as of this point, has probably some of the brightest color within it, which, with its name, will make a lot of sense. But that's something that'll be seen at a later time. But part 5 and part 7 will be a continuation of this specific part of the collection. So, thanks for watching, and if you could like and subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. Again, thank you for watching, and until next time, I am Umbrenero. Bye!